Get ready, because this may be the most important message you hear at this moment in your life. How many times have you felt that you needed to please someone to be accepted? How many times have you silenced your heart just to fit into the mold that others expected of you? What if I told you that every time you chose others instead of yourself, a piece of your peace was left behind? The time is coming, perhaps now, to make a decision that will change everything, to choose yourself. This video is not just a reminder, it is a spiritual call, a guide built on the teachings of Buddha and Shaolin philosophy for you to finally put yourself at the center of your own life. It's about stopping surviving in the shadow of expectations and starting to live in the light of your truth. If you keep watching, you'll discover how to free yourself from the prison of comparison, the need for approval, and the denial of who you are. You'll understand how focusing on yourself, far from being selfish, is the greatest act of love and wisdom. But first, take a deep breath. The journey begins now. The quest for approval is one of the greatest traps of the modern mind. And you know what's more dangerous? It seems harmless. It disguises itself as kindness, good manners, and taking care of others. But inside, it's corroding your authenticity. Buddha taught us that suffering arises from attachment and desire, and the desire to be accepted, loved, and validated is one of the deepest. When you live through the eyes of others, you lose your own gaze. Have you ever found yourself making decisions just to avoid being judged, or saying yes when your heart screamed no? This is more common than it seems, and deeply destructive. The constant comparison with others feeds a cycle of anxiety and dissatisfaction. We live as if there were an invisible manual dictating how we should look, speak, act, and feel. But who wrote that manual, and why have you given it so much power? Shaolin Shi Heng Yi teaches that the root of suffering is the disconnection from who we truly are, and the need to please is the biggest symptom of that disconnection. As long as we seek the approval we lack inside from the outside, we will never find peace. It's like trying to fill a cup with holes. Right now, millions of people are exhausted from trying to be what they are not. They sacrifice their essence in exchange for likes, compliments, and acceptance. And worst of all, they don't even realize they are losing themselves in the process. But there is a path, and it all begins with a choice. Imagine living a life where every choice is made based on what truly makes sense to you, where internal silence is more valuable than any external opinion, where your essence, not the expectations of others, guides your steps. That is the power of returning to yourself. In Buddhism, this movement is deeply sacred. It's called returning to the inner home. And no, we are not talking about a house made of walls, but your inner temple, that quiet space where your purest truth resides. The practice of mindfulness teaches us to stop, observe, feel. It is in silence that we discover we are whole, that we don't need to prove anything to anyone. You are not your achievement, nor your mistakes. You are the consciousness that observes all of this. Shaolin Shi Heng Yi shares that true wisdom arises from silence, not from the silence of the world, but from the silence that exists between one thought and another. There, in that small pause, lies the answer you seek. When you stop chasing the lives of others and begin to look inward, a transformation begins to take place. You start to hear your intuition. You begin to see patterns that were hidden. You start to feel peace where there was once anguish. But be aware. Returning to yourself may be uncomfortable at first. You will need to face the pains you have been avoiding, the emptiness you tried to fill with distractions. But this is the most liberating journey that exists. There's no way to live an authentic life without first going inside yourself. And this return doesn't require long journeys or great external achievements. It requires presence, truth, and courage. Now I ask you, how many times have you felt strange in the midst of your own life? Perhaps it's because you haven't returned home yet. One of Buddha's most powerful teachings is this: everything we are is a result of what we think. If each thought shapes reality, then each choice you make is a seed planted in the garden of your existence. How many of those seeds have truly been yours? Most people do not live consciously. They react, copy, repeat patterns. They go with the flow of the collective, believing this is normal. But what is normal for the crowd can be toxic for your soul. Buddha gifted us with a clear map for this journey of consciousness, the Noble Eightfold Path. Within it, we find the key to living wisely, ethically, and centered. And it all starts with right intention and right view. That is, clarity about what you want and why. When you start to choose for yourself, something magical happens. You stop being a hostage to circumstances and start being the creator of your reality. You stop living out of obligation and begin to live with purpose. The Shaolin philosophy reinforces this principle through discipline. Every gesture, every breath, every movement is done with full awareness. They don't rush through their practice. They practice with presence. And this is the greatest art of life, to be whole in every step. Start with small, conscious choices. Say no when necessary, without guilt. Choose what nourishes you, not what distracts you. Listen to your values before following a trend. You are the author of your journey, and the world needs people who write their own stories with courage and compassion. There is a silent and transformative force that many neglect in their spiritual journeys: self-compassion. But what is it really? It is not self-pity or permissiveness. Self-compassion is recognizing that you, like all beings, deserve love, patience, and understanding, especially from yourself. In Buddhism, this practice is known as metta, or loving kindness. It is an exercise where you direct intentions of well-being first to yourself, then to others, because it is impossible to offer true love when we are empty inside. Shaolin Shi Heng Yi often says, "You cannot train an exhausted body or elevate a wounded spirit." And yet, how many of us demand productivity when we are emotionally? How many of us blame ourselves for feeling sadness, fatigue, or fear? Self-compassion is the remedy that heals the wound of excessive demand. It says, it's okay to feel. It's okay to fail. You still deserve love. But how do you practice this in your daily life? Metta, meditation. Sit in silence. Inhale deeply and mentally repeat, "May I be well. May I be at peace. May I love myself as I am." Then direct that towards others. Compassionate journaling. Write a letter to yourself as if you were a dear friend. Acknowledge your pain. Celebrate your victories and embrace your failure. Conscious breathing. Place your hand on your chest and breathe slowly and deeply. With each breath, allow yourself to relax. Release the criticism and embrace kindness. You will notice that as self-compassion flourishes, your relationship with yourself changes. You stop judging yourself and start listening to yourself. You stop punishing yourself and begin to care for yourself. And this care transforms. It brings lightness, healing, genuine joy. It makes your presence a safe space for you and for others. Comparison is the invisible poison that destroys joy. It hides in social media, casual conversations, and the achievements of others. It whispers to us that we are not good enough, that we are falling behind, that we need to be more, thinner, richer, more productive, more spiritually evolved. But here's a spiritual truth. Comparison is the denial of your essence. Buddha said, "No one saves you but yourself." There is no pre-made path, no magic formula, or right time. Every being is a unique universe with its own rhythms, challenges, and lessons. Comparison arises from the ego. It's the ego that wants to be better. It wants to prove its worth. It wants to win. But the soul just wants to bloom. And each flower has its time. Have you ever seen a lotus flower rush its blooming because the flower next to it opened first? Of course not. It simply blossoms when it's time. So it is with you. In the Shaolin monastery, there are no competitions. There is only practice. Each disciple knows that their progress is not measured by speed, but by depth. And this is the wisdom that liberates. Stop now and reflect. How many times have you felt inferior after seeing someone's perfect life? How many times have you forgotten everything you have already overcome just because you saw someone seemingly further ahead? Comparison blinds us to what we already are. It makes us forget that every step taken with awareness is sacred, even if it seems small. So today, abandon that cruel ruler. Love your journey, honor your story, and remember, you didn't come into this world to be someone else. You came to be you, with all the light, all the scars, and all the beauty that it carries. After breaking with the illusion of approval, returning within, making conscious choices, cultivating self-compassion, and abandoning comparison, something begins to bloom within you, inner peace. But this peace is not a place without noise. It is a state where external noise no longer determines your internal silence. Buddha called this state equanimity, a serene mind in the face of life's tide. It's when you stop fighting against reality and begin to flow with it, rooted in your truth. Inner peace is not passivity, it's presence. It's knowing that even when the world demands masks, you remain steadfast with your face turned toward your essence. Many people confuse peace with the absence of problems, but true peace arises from integration. When you stop fleeing from yourself and accept everything you are, light and shadow, strength and fragility. Shaolin, Shi Heng Yi, teaches that peace is a skill that is trained. It arises from spiritual routine, commitment to silence, the practice of gratitude, and honesty with one's feelings. Peace is not having to explain yourself. It's not needing to prove. It's walking with lightness because you no longer carry the weight of being what others expect you. You won't find this peace in a retreat, in a book, or in someone else. It's right there, right where you are now, just waiting for you to stop running and simply feel. When you live in harmony with your truth, the universe responds. Relationships transform. Work takes on new meaning. The body relaxes. Everything around you reflects what pulses within you. And perhaps, at this point, you will realize that choosing yourself was the most revolutionary act of your existence. You've made it here. And that means something very important. You are ready. Ready to stop living the life that others expect and start living the one your soul cries out for. Ready to choose yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom. Because only those who are whole can offer something true to the world. Throughout this video, you have seen that choosing yourself is a spiritual path. It is the return to your essence, the abandonment of the mask of comparison, the embrace of your own imperfection. You have learned that it is possible to live in peace without needing to please everyone. That silence can be more revealing. 1,000 pieces of that compassion begins within. And that true happiness emerges when you stop chasing after standards and start walking on your own feet. Now, I invite you to take the next step. Stop, breathe, feel, and make a silent promise to yourself. From today on, I choose myself. I embrace myself. I respect myself. I honor myself. This simple decision can change everything. It can free your mind, warm your heart, illuminate your life. And if this message has touched you in any way, share it with someone who needs to remember their own worth. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, because together, we are building a community where spirituality is practical and awakening is daily. Remember, when you choose yourself, life chooses you too. See you in the next video, and until then, keep being your best company. Namaste.